Hello everyone, this is Indrajit Ganguly and this is my fourth and last video from the topic The Story of India's Freedom Struggle. Dear students, in my last video I was telling you how the context of the civil disobedience movement constructed after the withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement. To realize its goal of complete independence from British rule, the Indian National Congress under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi launched the civil disobedience movement in the year 1930. Now students, you will be surprised to know that Gandhiji took an ordinary item, that is salt, to organize the anti-British movement. Now you can tell me, sir, why did Gandhiji use salt for organizing the anti-British movement? Now I can say that salt is something which is consumed by both rich and poor, and the British government forbade Indians from making salt and also imposed heavy duties on it. Clear? On 12th March 1930, Gandhiji started his famous Salt March, which is also known as the Dandi March, from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, accompanied by 78 volunteers. Now students, on your screen you can see this is the route map of the Dandi March. Okay, the march was started from the Sabarmati Ashram, which is situated in Ahmedabad, and it was reached to the Dandi, the coastal region of Gujarat, that is Dandi. And the march was over 240 miles and it took 24 days to complete. So on 12th March 1930, Gandhiji started his famous Salt March. On 6th April, he reached Dandi and ceremonially violated the law. Gandhiji manufactured salt by boiling seawater. This is marked the beginning of the historical civil disobedience movement in the year 1930. Soon the movement spread to other parts of the country. Women, peasants and tribal people also participated in large numbers. The British government came down heavily on the protesters. After the movement, several meetings and conferences took place in London between the British government and several political parties in India. But all are in vain. These meetings did not come with any sort of results. Pressurized by the agitations of Indians, the British government passed the Government of India Act of 1935. Which gave autonomy to the Indian provinces, and elections were held for the provincial legislature in the year 1937. Remember students, by the Government of India Act of 1935, the first election took place in the year 1937. So we can say that this is the first election which took place in British India. But after the independence of India, the first election took place in the year 1951 and 52. So don't mix up these dates. These two dates are very important. In the British India, first election took place in 1937, and in Independence India, the first election took place in the year 1951-52. Correct? Okay. So Congress, in these elections, Indian National Congress marked its popularity by forming ministries in 7 out of 11 provinces in the elections. Remember students, in 1937, India was divided into 11 provinces. Okay, so in 11 provinces, Congress formed the government in 7 provinces. Okay, the act tried to address the demands of the Indians but failed short of their expectations. When the Second World War broke out in September 1939, Congress was ready to give support to the British in the war. But in return, they wanted India to be granted independence after the war. But the British refused to grant these demands. The Congress ministries therefore resigned in protests. During the period of Second World War, the British government sent Cripps mission headed by Stafford Cripps in the year 1942. The main objectives of the Cripps mission was to secure cooperation of Indians and get resources and manpower for the war. Cripps mission first time granted the Dominion status or self-rule and also proposed that a constituent assembly would be formed to frame a new constitution for India. So this proposal was very unique, which was given by the British government. First of all, they said that after the Second World War, India would surely get Dominion status, which means the self-rule, which was already demanded by the Congress for several years. I hope you know that. And they also proposed that after the war, a constituent assembly would be set up, and this assembly would draft the constitution for India. Clear? So you can see that the British government was desperate to have India's cooperation in the Second World War. Clear? Anyway, Indian National Congress refused to accept this proposal and passed the Quit India Resolution on 8th August 1942, demanding an immediate end to the British rule in India. During this movement, Gandhiji quoted his famous line, that is, "Do or die. We shall either free India or die in that day." That means this is the last Gandhian movement which was organized before the independence, and this movement demanded immediate end of the British rule in India. Now students, the Second World War came to an end in the year 1945, and the British allies were victorious in the Second World War. Today I am not discussing you the story of the Second World War because it will be discussed in the class 9 syllabus. So after the Second World War, the British realized that they could not rule India for a long time. So therefore, the British government sent a cabinet mission to India in 1946 to negotiate with Indian leaders and also discuss the terms for transfer of power. The cabinet mission suggested that India should be a federation while giving a large amount of autonomy to the provinces and states. But the Congress and the Muslim League did not agree to certain aspects of the proposals. There was no option but the partition of India. After the failure of the cabinet mission, now Muslim League was demanded for the separate nations for the Muslim majority people in India. And they called these nations as Pakistan. These nations comprising Punjab, Afghanistan, Balochistan, Kashmir, and basically the northwest province of India. And on 16th August 1946, the party president Muhammad Ali Jinnah called for Direct Action Day. He quoted, "Ladke lenge Pakistan." That means Muhammad Ali Jinnah wanted the Pakistan desperately. So this initiative of Muslim League caused communal riots in India, and these caused killings of thousands of Hindu and Muslims, basically in Calcutta and Punjab. On your screen you can see this is the pictures which was taken during the time of the communal riots which were take place in Calcutta, and you can see dead bodies were lying on the ground and vultures were waiting on the walls, and they basically eat the meat of from the dead bodies. So this is the terrible effects of the great Calcutta killings of 1946. Finally, Lord Mountbatten became the Viceroy of India, and he announced that India would become a free nation and a new state of Pakistan will be created along with a free India. The nationalist leaders reluctantly agreed to the partition in India in order to bring to an end of the terrible communal riots. On 15th August 1947, India celebrated its first day of freedom, but the sense of joy was mixed with pain and sadness of partition. So students, this is it for the chapter, and I particularly believe that from these chapters you will understand lots of interesting things and important things from our freedom struggle, and these stories of our freedom struggle will definitely inspire you and definitely encourage you and also motivate you to think about your own country and to think about the development of the country. Anyway, this is it for today. Thank you and have a nice day.